Hi everyone, it's Cameron from Firehub, and I'm excited to talk you through today our brand new update and feature, which is the template editor within Firehub. This has been our #1 most requested feature. The reason for that is quite simple. There are plenty of building types. Obviously we cover them all with our past 79 templates, but plenty of assessors and plenty of very specific buildings have their own requirements and like to do things their own way, and that's absolutely not a problem. That is all part of the expertise that goes into the job. So to facilitate that, we've built in an assessment template editor, which will allow you to put in pre-populated questions for those annoying little bits that you find yourself typing out over and over again on site. It's all going to be covered in this very quick video, so please stick around till the end. Alright, kicking off then, you can access this anywhere. It could be from the dashboard or the assessments page or whatever, because all you're going to do is head into that cog in the top right corner, click it where you would normally access all of your account related settings, click the brand new option, which is assessment types. Now, if you're already using Firehub, you'll probably recognize these site types. They're all based on the DCLG guides. There's a few pages of them here, and these all relate to the specific past 79 templates that you would need for that kind of premises. But obviously it doesn't cover very specific scenarios in which you might have idiosyncrasies or differences between that particular property that you're assessing. So for example, healthcare premises, I know a lot of people ask about specific NHS guidelines for fire risk assessments and stuff like that, so you could easily edit these templates to include any questions like that you want. So let's go and pick, for example, purpose-built blocks over 4 stories at the top there, and if we go to the 3 little dots on the right hand side, click those and click edit template, that's when we'll be able to go into that template itself and edit the questions. Now, the #1 thing on everybody's list, how do I add a brand new question? And that could not be simpler. So if we go into a particular question group, such as description of building, for example, and we click those 3 dots again, you can then see the add question functionality. And you can ask the question here. So it might be, for example, who is responsible for the fire doors on the wards? Question mark. And you can then pick the question type. Now, I've got several different question types to pick from. You might be familiar with these already from using Firehub. You've got your text answer. Those have absolutely no restrictions on how much text you can write, as always, and it's the same with the findings and the actions, etc. You've got options there, which may be the most familiar of all of them. You've got your satisfactory, action required, and NA responses for not relevant questions. Multi-select, so more than one options from a list. Yes or no questions, and risk level 2. So I'm going to choose the straightforward one. I'm going to go with option, and that will provide me with that kind of standard question template that you're all familiar with. Let's press create on that question, and then if we go back into the question group, we can now see that that question's been added here, nice and simple. So to edit that question in more detail, we just need to click those 3 dots there and click edit question. And you can see you've got your title and group again. You can change this if, for example, you put it in the wrong place. Default text, this is any pointers that you might need for yourself when you're on site or for your assessors. So, make sure to contact reception, anything like that. Appendixes, you might be familiar with these from the end of our reports. You can now tie those questions, these new questions, to one of those appendixes as well, so that will sort you out automatically. And also you've got your predetermined responses here that you can add in. So for example, if you're satisfied that the person, in charge of the fire doors or whatever it is competent, you could write in here, competent person found for fire doors, and then every single time you pick a satisfactory response for this question, that response is going to come up. So you'll be nice and sorted every single time without having to type it from scratch 50 times on site, especially if you're doing more complicated sites. So this will absolutely make that process much quicker and allow you to focus on the building, which is what ultimately you really want to be doing. The same obviously applies to action required, so you could be like, contact HQ for more details on responsible person, or NA, and then this will save you a lot of time as well. You can just write in here, hospital doesn't have fire doors. Obviously that would be a big problem. Of course, you have your predefined findings as well that you can then pick from once you load it in on site. You'll be able to write those up from scratch just once. That'll be applied every time you use this template, so that'll save you a lot of time too. So you might put in here, nominate person, or install fire door. You can put in as many of these as you want. And then when you do head out on site, you can then pick from them as options for your findings. But don't worry, if there's something you did not think about in advance or something that's arisen on site, you can always add that in on the app as well while you're on the go. You've also got your timescale here, so let's pick let's pick immediate, because this seems pretty important. And let's click Save Changes. And as you can see, that has now been updated within the template itself, and that will all sit within, as I said, the assessment type setting on your Firehub dashboard. You might have noticed there's no option to add a photo or anything like that, or require a photo at this stage. That's because you can add a photo to absolutely any question within Firehub that you're answering. Multiple photos as well enabled from your tablet device too. So that is automatically applied. You don't need to worry about that. That will all be available in terms of photos when you load up the tablet app on site. You've got a couple more options for how you structure these in the reports as well, so they can ultimately end up in whatever order you want them to be. So if you click the three dots at the top of the section, you can add a question group. So for example, hospital fire doors. Add that in there. Just to illustrate a use for that, you could then go in here, edit that, and then you could put it at the hospital one that you just created and move it around like that. You can also add a section, nice and simple too. So you might put in Ward 1 as a section, for example, or however you want to use this functionality. You may have also noticed that you can now edit appendix items. So these are the appendixes that are affixed to the ends of your reports within Firehub. You can now edit these to your heart's content, and as well, very, very soon, you'll also be able to edit those user guides at the start of the report. It will come up with a very brief notification just to say that it may no longer be past 79 compliant, but as long as you're happy, the client's happy with what you've edited in there, no worries at all, you can use your platform for your own needs. Just a little side note, if you do find that something hasn't been set up properly in advance, but you do want to edit it while you're already on site, you can do so in your mobile browser, just like you would access it normally within a PC browser, and then go ahead and choose the assessment types option there as well. And to put it very simply, the way this would work is when you create a new booking, you would simply select the new assessment type, and that will update the site type with your brand new template for you to use on site, and then that will be able to use as many times as you want. And of course, you can edit them down the line as well if circumstances change. All right, well, I think that's everything. That's a whistle-stop tour of our brand new update that just came out. This is going to change everything. So we've gone from providing ultimate peace of mind for you, having the right questions in place, to ultimate customizability for you as well. So you'll be able to remain compliant while fulfilling your needs and your clients' needs in the most efficient way possible within the fire risk assessment space. If you're seeing this and you haven't already signed up, I would recommend doing so and getting your first risk assessment free on the Firehub platform by going to firehub.co.uk. And if you already signed up, well, it's good to have you here.